Oh hey, it's Kay Dyson.
It's Kay. Hello guys and welcome back. We're actually going to be jumping super quickly into our next game for you. You're ready for some action, we're ready for some action. I think we should get straight into the game.
Yeah, we have a game between Sweden's Nils Dunlop, Sweden, a nation that hasn't really ever had any success in VGC. So the fact that he's in day 2 and doing so well is incredible.
And we also have on the other side, we have Trista Medine on the other side, a very well-known player from the US. She's been playing for so long that her player ID is only 3 digits, minus 7. So that should tell you what an experienced veteran she is.
I think mine is 8.
So we got a little snap of the team previews there.
Yep.
But we're going to be going very quickly into it. We have on Nils Dunlop's side, Tapu Lele, Alolan Muck, Alolan Marowak, Pelipper, Kartana, and Alolan Raichu. All of the Alolan forms being repped here.
And on Trista's side of the field, we got the Celesteela, the Salamence, Gigalith, Tapu Lele, Porygon 2, and the Alolan Marowak.
What do you think so far, Matt? Just looking at these for the first time.
Well, we are seeing at another Tapu Lele mirror. We've seen quite a lot of Tapu Lele holding things like Psychic Seeds, yeah, you know, like sometimes a Psychium Z crystal, but you know, like Tapu Lele mirrors are they can do damage to each other, but I wonder if we're actually going to see Tapu Lele because they both have the Marowak which can deal with it. So it's a bit of a mirror all the time around. Meanwhile, in the meantime, Nils also does have the Pelipper which can cause the rain, and do heavy damage to the Gigalith, but only if there's no Sandstream.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if the two players go for their opposing weathers in this match. I find the Tapu Lele mirror tends to at least end quite quickly when it does happen.
That's true, depending on what Z Crystal is being used, or if one is being used in the first place. I guess we're going to be seeing the leads in just a minute.
Let's see how we go. So we're going to be seeing the leads come out from Nils Dunlop's side. And we have Tapu Lele and Alolan Raichu. On Trista's side of the field, we've got Salamence and Porygon 2. Two very colour-coordinated Pokemon there, I appreciate that.
Yeah, very lovely. They're all a little bit pink and a little bit red. Raichu is breaking the mold here, being completely yellow.
Raichu didn't get the memo.
But yeah, Raichu is going to lead off, but it won't be able to use its fake out because of the psychic terrain that's just been put up. Meanwhile, Trista has gone for a very, very defensive lead of Porygon 2 and the Intimidate supports with the Salamence.
Yeah, perhaps worrying about the Alolan Marowak or the Kartana coming out early to bring in the Salamence for that early Intimidate. As it happens, Intimidate not really doing its work here, so we might see her preserving the Salamence for later Intimidate-y shenanigans.
Indeed, the Raichu could also do a lot of damage to the Salamence because Salamence is usually a little bit weaker on the especially defensive side.
So we've got Porygon 2 switching straight out and Celesteela coming in. We've got Bulk for Bulk swapping out here.
Well, that's a little bit odd. Ooh, but we do see the Z Crystal.
Early Z Crystal, and that is a Psychic Z Crystal being used on the Alolan Raichu. Really could have been either of them, but we've gone for the Raichu. Who is going to be the target of this? Was it trying to target down that Porygon 2 before it could get a Trick Room up? We're going to have to see. And the Shattered Psyche is going into the Celesteela slot. So that was a good switch on Trista's part because that Shattered Psyche is not going to do an awful lot to Celesteela.
Yeah, that does very little to Celesteela indeed, even with the Psychic Terrain up.
Oh, we've got matching dances on opposing sides of the field, and this is the Dragon Z move that we have here. So we're going to see the devastating Drake Z move from Salamence. We'll get to see Salamence turn from a slightly chubby, deformed little blue dragon into a slightly more elegant, twisty purple dragon. And we'll have to see who it's going to target down here. It's going to go for the Raichu. Well, of course it went for the Raichu.
Yeah, and that Raichu gets knocked straight out.
That was an aggressive first turn.
Very, very aggressive on both sides of the field. Tapu Lele still does get a Psychic off on the Celesteela, but what a wonderful switch by Trista.
That actually did quite a lot of damage, that Psychic to the Celesteela.
Yeah, we do see the Life Orb in the Tapu Lele, which is quite an interesting choice. Tapu Lele obviously being such a well-rounded Pokemon, you can stick any item on it and it will still do such a good job. Obviously the Celesteela took a lot of damage from this Psychic Terrain boosted Shattered Psyche from the Raichu and the Life Orb boosted Psychic from the Tapu Lele, but it still took it so well. probably indicating that this Celesteela has even more specially defensive bulk than most Celesteela may do. But Nils does switch in the Kartana in this slot for the free switch.
More special bulk than Celesteela normally do. That is a scary thought, Matt.
It indeed is. Meanwhile, the Salamence did cover that brilliantly because of the Intimidates earlier, but there were no real physical threats there anyway. Except for now, we do have the Kartana, which might have, if there isn't as much physical defense into this training into the Celesteela, maybe the Kartana does have a move that can knock it out at this point.
Well, the Kartana is pretty much the embodiment of a physical threat. Not that you'd think to look at it with it being a little dancing and looking very fragile, but if you've ever had a paper cut, you know how much Kartana can hurt.
Oh yeah, and if Kartana is just basically an embodiment of a paper cut, it will hurt a lot. And indeed, we do see the Sacred Sword onto the Celesteela, it does knock out.
Well, that was a Celesteela down in 3 moves. That Celesteela, that's the quickest I've ever seen that happen. We've got the attack rise on the Kartana, of course the attackers will start getting boosted by the Beast Boost, but we've got Flamethrower from Salamence, which is gonna... Oh, we see Focus Sash. We do see Focus Sash on the Kartana. So it might be able to launch off another attack before it goes down, but it's not going to be around for much longer. And Moonblast taking Salamence straight down. This is a hyper-aggressive game.
Yes, excellent playing by Nils. You know, it was a little bit heartbreaking to see the Celesteela switch in on both of those psychic moves, but in the end it did work out because the Kartana was able to get the KO on the Celesteela there, and the Moonblast with the Life Orb is enough also to knock out the Salamence. So excellent playing by Nils, excellent offensive move.
I find nothing upsetting about watching a Celesteela go down in 3 moves, Matt.
That is true, and we do see the special attack boost on this Porygon, so maybe a little bit of a threat at this moment in time. Thankfully, the Sandstorm damage isn't going to knock out the Kartana, but the Kartana is such a threat at this point in the game.
It's going to be, of course, faster than Gigalith and Porygon 2 on the field. I think Trista would very much like to get her Trick Room up at this point, but that relies on Porygon 2 not being KO'd by a Sacred Sword, which it is not going to be. Eviolite is such a good item on it. You don't really see any variety there, it's always Eviolite, but we've got Psychic from Tapu Lele, and that is enough to finish it off. No Trick Room for Trista.
Wow, excellent playing by Nils. The Psychic Terrain really is paying dividends at this position in time. Excellent Psychic Terrain usage. 2 Psychics, a Shattered Psyche, and really, Nils is in a fantastic position with only this Gigalith left to deal with.
It was a good Rock Slide though by Trista, able to use the stab boosted Rock Slide, doing some fairly decent damage to Tapu Lele, and also just getting that little bit of chip damage just to get rid of Kartana. We don't want that on the field anymore. But we have Pelipper coming out to get rid of the sand and make it a little bit more rainy on the field.
Excellent offensive game plan from Nils Dunlop right here. Now the Sandstream is gone, so we won't even see some sort of clutched Gigalith sweep at the very, very end, because the Sandstream is gone, which means Gigalith loses its special defense boost. So Pelipper is just going to be able to knock it out. But we do see it's not quite as fast as Tapu Lele.
So Tapu Lele going first there, taking a little bit of life or damage, but hanging in there, and this is surely game for Nils here, because the Scald is going to knock into the Gigalith, and Nils Dunlop from Sweden takes game 1 of this round.
Yeah, excellently played by Nils, I would say. Trista really decided to play, look at the team matchup and thought, you know what, there's a lot of defensive Pokemon here, maybe I'll just go for some sort of defensive lead. That unfortunately didn't work out properly, because Nils really just went after and after and after with more moves. The Celesteela couldn't really stand a chance, especially with 2 big psychic moves onto it. It just brought it into that into the Sacred Sword range from the Kartana, and yeah, a Celesteela going down in 3 moves in 2 turns. That's nuts, isn't it?
It is pretty nuts. I do not think we should count Trista out of it just yet. She is a 3 times world competitor.
Yeah.
She's had a really good run. She's come up with some very tough competition earlier in her rounds. She's been taking out some strong names. And yeah, I don't think we should be counting her out just yet. We've seen so many players come back from this game 1 and go on to actually win the sets.
Yeah, definitely not. And after she missed out on day 2 quite heartbreakingly, she, I think, is ready in day 2 again, and she's probably very happy with that. She has won a regional back in 2011, I believe it was, but again, we were going to recap the teams. Nils Dunlop from Sweden is running a team of Tapu Lele, a Alolan Muck, a Alolan Marowak, a Alolan Raichu, I love the word Alolan, Pelipper and Kartana.
And on Trista's side, once again, well, they're not even going to give us time. They are ready, but we do have Celesteela, Marowak, Porygon 2, Tapu Lele, Gigalith, and Salamence on her side of the field.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see how Trista decides to lead differently than she did in the last game.
Do you think she'll go? Do you think she'll manage to get the Trick Room up this time? I think Trick Room is. I know that we have the Alolan Marowak on the other side of the field, but I think Trick Room is probably the way that she should be trying to go. And this looks like a bulky Trick Room lead if ever I saw one.
Yes, very much so. We also see the exact same needs from Nils. Very, very, very offensive.
So Trista's in a good position to get Trick Room up here if she wants to, because we don't have Kartana on the field, which is the big threat to Porygon 2. We could potentially see a Z-Crystal move coming straight out here from Nils, try and get that Porygon 2 out of the way, but I think Trick Room's probably going up this turn.
Yeah, that's very true. We did see in the previous turn he did actually target the Porygon 2 with such a Shattered Psychic and the Psychic from the Tapu Lele. Maybe he's expecting those two moves to knock the Porygon 2 out.
Potentially, yeah. I don't remember. It went down to a Sacred Sword last game, didn't it?
It did go, but it did switch out into the Celestina, which took those Psychic moves quite well.
True.
But yeah.
So yeah, we might see this double targeting strategy again for Nils. I'm not sure if they will double knock it out. It looks like he might be going for the same strategy once again, but Porygon 2 is staying in this time.
That's true, because Porygon doesn't quite have the safe switch into the Celesteela. Well, we thought it was safe at the time, but
the not so safe
not
switch.
really, yeah. And we do see this Shattered Psyche here from the powerful Alolan Raichu.
And presumably, yeah, going into the Porygon 2 slot. The duck is bouncing all over the Psychic field. And
poor duck.
Oh, that is doing heavy damage. Is the Life Orb Psychic going to be enough to finish off Porygon 2?
I believe it very much is. The Psychic terrain is really what is winning Nils the game right now.
Oh, and I stand corrected. It's Porygon 2, as bulky as it is a bulky little duck, but it was just not enough to get the Trick Room up. But we see the Heavy Slam in Tapu Lele, which is immediately going to shut that down.
Yeah, this might be big, because with the Beast Boost, Trista might get a special defense boost there. Right there.
There we go.
I knew it was specially defensively trained.
So both players now having to react to this switch in another Pokemon of theirs. Trista having lost her Trick Room setter, but Nils having lost one of his bulky Tapu Lele, what am I saying? One of his not bulky, most powerful attackers. That said, he does have pretty much a team full of powerful attackers. Pelipper's pretty much the only thing on his team that's not a powerful attacker, and indeed we see Kartana coming in instead. So we've gone from a special attacker to a physical attacker, and on Trista's side we also see an offensive switch in with Marowak.
Yes, this might actually be a very dangerous situation for Nils here. If the Celestia picks up yet another KO, the special defense is going to boost again, and of course there's a Lightning Rod on the field, and Celestia does have the chance to get more and more special defense boosts up to get itself in a position where it won't even get knocked out by a Raichu.
And you never know, we might actually see Celesteela lasting a little bit more and actually doing Celesteela things this match. So they do have to be very careful. So Marowak can happily threaten either of the two things in the field, but it's actually going to go for a Protect here. But maybe to scout out what moves Nils is going to use, and indeed we saw Psychic was targeting down the Marowak.
Wow, excellent Protect by Trista here. While Celestia goes for the Flamethrower, it's going to proc the Focus Sash. I really like Flamethrower Celesteela. It does win the Celesteela mirror, essentially.
It does.
That's probably exactly what it's there for. But yeah, excellent Protect by Trista here. Nils is still in the same position, but now the Kartana has lost its Focus Sash.
Yes, so the Kartana is probably only going to be able to get off one attack now before it goes down. Any other Pokemon, you could happily switch into Gigalith at this point to get the Sandstream chip damage, but as we've said, Kartana is a Steel type and therefore will not be affected, which is a little bit of a shame for Trista. What do you think Trista has to think about here?
I think Trista has to think about correctly deciding which Pokemon she wants to preserve, because Nils might be able to pick up a KO with two strong attackers on the field.
And here we go, we got Raichu using Encore! I love Encore Raichu, we saw a lot of that with Wolfie's team in Worlds, and Marowak is now just going to have to protect over and over again, but it might not get that much of a chance to, because we have Smart Strike coming in from Kartana, which, even if not very effective, potentially seeing if there was going to be a switch, that was a pretty good double target there. Marowak is now locked into Protect. And Flamethrower is here to take out that Kartana, possibly a little bit of overkill, but the Kartana goes down.
Yeah, that's true, the Kartana does go down, but now Celestia has gotten a second Beast Boost in the special defense. The Marowak isn't doing anything, but it's providing essential support for the Celesteela. This might be extremely dangerous, but we did see the Marowak go for a second Protect because of the Encore, and it did get the double Protect, so with the triple Protect, it's so much less likely now. So this Marowak is a very easy target, but at the same time, the Celesteela is way too dangerous to ignore.
Definitely, and this is probably a safe time to bring in Nils' own Marowak. He might have been worried about doing it before because it would redirect all of his own Raichu's Thunderbolts, which we have seen happen on stream yesterday. Players forgetting that Lightning Rod exists on their own Marowak. But since there's already a Marowak on the field, Raichu can't use the electric attacks anyway, might as well bring in his own Marowak and get some damage done with it. But we see Trista switching out her own Marowak. She doesn't want it sitting there and just protecting with nothing, so she's bringing Gigalith in instead to get the sand up.
Yeah, we see a little nod from Nils there. The sand is going to give it the boost from any sort of attack from the Raichu. We do see the Psychic's not going to do too much, or a little bit more because of the Psychic, but we do see a Flare Blitz. It's going to be a big one onto that Celestina. Will we see a one-hit KO?
We will! Wowee, that was especially defensive Celesteela, as we said, but that is still impressive of the Marowak, and that is heavy recoil.
Ouch.
But we see Raichu and Marowak just taking that little bit of chip damage, and now Trista will have to see what comes in on her side of the field to try and turn this back in her favour.
Yes, we did see what she did switch out, and it was the Marowak no longer encored, but Trista does have to keep the encore into mind right now.
So both players down to their final two Pokemon, Marowak v Marowak and Gigalith versus Raichu. Do you think we could call it at this point, or do you think it's still too close?
I think it's very heavily in Trista's favour, because the Gigalith can't really be damaged too heavily by Raichu or Marowak unless we see a double target, but Trista could make a prediction here as well.
We'll just have to see what they're going to do for us. We're just waiting on Nils to use his move here. You can see the move time counting down there, but I suspect Trista's already made hers. Yeah,
I think it's the big decision for Nils here. This turn might make or break the game. Yep.
Here we go. So Raichu is going for the Psychic into the Marowak slot. Again, doing quite a decent amount of damage, but this is Nils' own Marowak using Bone. It's enough to take down. It's enough to take down the Gigalith.
That is a big one from Nils. That might have just been a damage roll, because we do see the Shadow Bone go out right now. We also see the Marowak move before, and now Trista's Marowak may just be in Psychic range, so Nils may have just won this one just by the scruff of its neck.
Oh, it's still... Yeah, I think at this point the Raichu Psychic is going to be enough to take down the Marowak.
Apart from maybe an accidental encore or Thunderbolt or fake out, I think Nils has this one.
I think Nils has this. So, Raichu is going to use Psychic, take down the Marowak, and that is going to be this set to Nils.
Yeah, wonderfully played by Sweden's Nils Dunlop. Sweden now finally getting some representation in VGC. Very positive showing right there. But I think Trista did play quite well as well. A little bit too defensive maybe, but yeah, I think actually excellently played. It wasn't too well, but it was mostly because Nils just went for more and more attacks.
That's the thing. The taking down the Porygon 2 as quickly as possible